later Final Fantasy fan, what was odd to me is just how critically well received Final Fantasy XII was. And that's because I've been surrounded by an internet community of a lot of Final Fantasy XII hate. Especially Final Fantasy XIII hate, but a lot of, well, I think Final Fantasy XII was even worse, or 12 is where it all started going wrong, or things like that. Like 12 doesn't quite fit, they got rid of the turn-based battle system. And so I feel, and maybe it's just, the silent majority loves the game, who knows, but I feel that its legacy has been tarnished by longtime fans of the Final Fantasy series who were disappointed in how possibly different they felt Final Fantasy XII was. But in the context of the whole series, as we've been going through it, 1 through 12 now, including 11, it is very much closer to what Final Fantasy is in those first 10 games than 11 was. In fact, it's tapering down from 11's departure of what made a Final Fantasy. So I do feel as if you include 11 in your Final Fantasy landscape of legacy within the series, within the main series especially, I do feel that it fits. I do feel that it is a solid game. We'll get to rankings later. And I think it does have a place there, although I can see why, after coming from Final Fantasy X, if you didn't play 11, and just how great Final Fantasy X was, I could see as a fan, and I feel as a fan, how the letdown that Final Fantasy XII is from that.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a similar feeling after playing 7 when you pop 8 in, at least for me.
For you, yeah.
Because I played 7 first, and back in the day before we did the show, I tried to play 8, and I was like, I can't do it. I could see that being the same situation with 12. I think it's a great game on top of everything. I think it's... I really enjoy it myself. But yeah, the legacy, it is tarnished. It's a divided Final Fantasy. Not quite as heavily, I don't think, as 13, but I feel like a lot more people played 13, so it's the first one on the PlayStation 3. Those are always the biggies.
The first one on a console will always be the biggest.
That could play a part in it, but even just by itself, I do feel like the legacy is tarnished, and I feel like a lot of it is probably because people didn't play 11, like actual fans of the Final Fantasy series. A lot of them just didn't even touch 11 because they're like, well, it's an MMO, it's a bastard.
It doesn't count.
We don't need to play it. So I feel like they missed the jump that 12 did from 11, and I feel like that's probably the biggest thing that ruins its legacy. Other than some of the issues the game has itself, I would say probably the shadow of the gap between 10 and 12.
Yet as a game, it seems to hold up for at least gaming publications that are, I think, judging it as a game and not necessarily as a Final Fantasy.
Right, which I kind of think you should do, because it is a game.
You probably should.
But it's not how it always works.
I don't know. Caleb, Craig, how do you feel like the Final Fantasy community or the community at large, how do you feel that this game has been, how it's been talked about, how people feel about it?
How it holds up in the legacy of Final Fantasy as a whole?
Or of itself, the legacy of Final Fantasy 12.
I'm not really sure. Mostly because I feel like the people who play it don't like it because it's too different from previous Final Fantasies, but I think that's exactly what makes it Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is a series that likes to take the RPG, like the normal RPG, and then try to do different things with it, whether that be with story-wise or battle system-wise. I know that even though they've generally stuck to kind of a turn-based system, and they moved to the active time battle that was sort of that kind of kept the feeling of kind of the turn-based, but they kept trying to move on and do different things, and I think that's really helped it. And they're moving on with doing that more with like 13 and 15. They're continuing to try to do different things, and it's good that they go back to the active time battle or the turn-based system. But I think that the other problem is that not too many people have played it, and it's probably because it's a limited game where it's only being on the PS2 and not available for the PC or PS4 or anything like an HD remake would probably fix, and it would probably become a much more played game and probably well received again, being that there's a lot of trophy hunter people who would like to tackle a game that big.
And then for those Skyrim fans out there, there's tons of extra shit to do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so it would be like kind of like a new release, because all these people would be able to play this game that they've never even seen before or played before.
Right.
With the wider range of playability.
I think it'll get better in time too. I think it'll be more appreciated as people just accept that Final Fantasy is different now.
Okay.
It's probably never going to go back to what it was.
All right. So we got some short reviews from some of our forum members, so we'll get you guys the opinions of some other people real quick. Kefka Palaza said, I would rank it 5th out of the 11 main FF games I have played. He says, unlike the Gambit's... he likes the Gambit system and the more open world system than some of the games, with a lot to do and explore, and found the hunts very fun. The only thing he disliked is how the story itself was weaker than many of the other games, as well as the villains compared to many other lacked character. The first 2 playthroughs, he didn't even finish it. Unlike 7, 6, 10, and many others, where the villains and the stories compelled you to see it to the end.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough. We got one here from the Doors 93. He says his ranking goes 10, 7, 9, 12, 4, 8, 3, 2, 1, 13. Ooh. I have not played 5 or 6. Yeah, I know. I need to get around to it. And I have not played any of the MMOs. I honestly love 12. Although I do believe the story and characters are lacking, I find many aspects to be great. The battle system, the world itself, weapon and armor system, and the Esper collection all rank highly as some of my favorites that the series has to offer.
Shinru says he never beat 12. Still waiting for that HD version.
Okay, fair enough. Chocobo Chica, still working on 12. She will finish it someday. Doesn't really care for the story, and that's the only reason why I don't feel compelled to play it. I like a good half of the main party, Fran, Ash, both here. The Gambit system and license board is really unique, and she likes the hunts. It does rank pretty low on her list out of the main series games she's played, second to last.
What's last?
Probably 1.
You know,
a lot of people hate 2. Okay. Stolen said, I mean, that's just what no, wait. I remember hearing her say she hated 13.
Yeah, I think 13 is the bottom.
I think 13 is the bottom for her. Okay. Stola said the battle system is amazing, and that was by far my favorite part. Was not a fan of the license board. Characters could too easily be the same. Oh, well, that's not why I hate the license board, but still. I love a person who hates that license board. Story was meh unless you are really into Star Wars.
Yeah, totally.
And I felt it does have a sort of Star Wars feel. I feel that
whole series
might have
does.
to be more with the design than anything else. Although the connection to Hidden Fortress that Caleb Gray talked about was that's a tell.
Yeah.
And I felt it was much shorter than FF10, maybe because it was less compelling. He's talking about the story. Animation and voice acting was pretty solid. They actually had people eating in 2006. I was blown away. Not sure what that means. Designs for environments and characters were insane back in 2006. That being said, despite how huge the cities were, there wasn't much to actually do in them other than buy armor and magic. All those NPCs, barely anything to do. Kind of sums up the game. Crap ton of detail on the exterior, barely anything in the interior. The amount of side quests was sickening. That being said, fuck the godforsaken rare items. Fuck the idea of items enemies being so hard to find that you had to get a strategy guide, because to hell if you honestly think you'd be able to find them on your own. Finally, a huge fuck you Square to a boss that takes more than 2 hours to kill. That's not even that challenging. I thought it was really challenging near the end. Seriously, who thought that was okay? I'm assuming the same asshole that thought up assuming it's the same asshole that thought up the lightning dodges. There's a special place in hell for those people. I give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay, his ranking is 7, 9, 8, 10, 5, 12, 6, ouch, 3, 4,
Jesus!
11, 2, and 1.
6-8? What?
Alright, so this one's from Night Mist. Like the Gambit system, didn't like the random loot from chests or the rarity of creatures spawning and getting certain things from the drops. I feel like those are best suited for an MMO. Didn't like how the story perspective was from Vaughn, neither did we. It was more like wish it was more like FF7, where it's from the perspective of who is in your party, because I wanted to see the world through Balthier and Fran. But overall, it was a fun game to play. 10, 7, 6, 8, 9, 12, 11, 1. Have not played 2 to 5.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah.
5 is awesome, at least.
5 is
and
great.
4 is a good game, too.
True.
All right. Judge Grant says, great game, great story, great characters, and the difficulty is a model a lot of other RPGs could take note of. You can complete 12 in a relatively quick, but if you want the best gear and the ability to exploit the best tactics, you must do the side stuff, which is amazing. Like the original FF, I like how you can venture into areas that you shouldn't be in. I remember the first time I got to Nebrius Deadlands, and I was like, oh crap, I'm not supposed to be here yet. I love the game overall. It's a top 5 for me. So he ranks him 4 as the best, 6, 7 tactics, and then 12.
Okay.
So it's top 5.
This one's from Brelio Bra. After replaying this now for the 3rd time, it has grown on me immensely. The game might be a giant grind, but the battle system's awesome. I like having more than 1 or 2 pieces of equipment, and the story, despite its execution, isn't as bad when you understand it a bit more. I think it's cool that Vana really wasn't a bad guy, but just wanted the humans to be free from the Acuria. Of course, this probably leads to all the destruction that happens later on in the history of Ivalice. However, I agree with Spoonie that Vaughn and Pinello should not be there, and the game could have just started when Balthier entered the plot. I did complete the hunts, however, I was incredibly pissed after my 4 to 6 hour battle with Yazimat. I found out you need to complete the bestiary to get the highest clan rank. Also, the most annoying thing in this game is the slowdown of spells at the end. I'm trying to get Kiraja off on my guy, and he's just standing there getting wailed on because some other thing casted a spell. That is annoying. A better game than most of the early ones. 9, 7, tactics, 10, 8, 6, 12.
Oh, we don't count tactics in our rankings.
Not yet.
All you new forum members just don't understand. It's what we've done. So I'm just kidding. It's fine. Whatever.
We haven't done any of that so far. You can't say that.
No. But when we do rankings, we don't touch the games we haven't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
that's what you were getting on. Okay.
Yeah. Light Sage says, I'm not the biggest fan of the battle system, as I felt it took too much away from the player. 98% of the battles could be won by having a decent set of gambits, dropping your controller, and leaving the room. I totally did that. I would have preferred for gambits to control mostly support actions rather than everything. The story is interesting, but pretty much demands at least 2 playthroughs to understand it. But one of Final Fantasy XII's strong points is that, unlike most other FF games, there was not a character in the party I disliked. All of them were likable, which helped this game a lot for me. So this is not the worst game in the series for me, but it's not my favorite. 10, 7, 9, 6, 12, 1, and 2.
All right. So we've got one from Sniper912 here.
Haven't played 8?
I guess not.
Huh. That's unusual.
Last review we've got here. I got my PlayStation 3. Forgot the end there. While playing 12 and never finished it.
The PlayStation.
Yeah, I had been off 11 for a few months, so I wasn't sure about this game. I really liked the thought, the way the Gambit system worked, and the open feel without needing internet and a party of friends made it so much better. I didn't mind the license grind, as it was a nice addition to the level grinding. I thought there were some interesting enemies and really beautiful vistas, and having loved tactics, he was eager.
You did it again, you fuck. Did you do that on purpose?
I do it on purpose every time. He was eager to see.
Sure, Concerto.
He was eager to see how it all fit into the same universe. As I never finished it or got to play the international version, it makes it hard to rank properly, but based on how much fun he had, he's going to have to say his order is 7 and 10 tied for first, 9, 8, 12, 6, 4, 13s, 10, 2, 5, 11, 1, and 2.
Okay.
All right, well.
Okay, well. Wait, what games have you played in 1 between 1 and 12, Caleb?
The ones that I've beaten?
Yeah.
1, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 12.
All right, you get to do your ranking first.
Yeah.
And you've beaten 9 since the last time you were on the episode. So.
Yeah, I did. I finally finished that shit up.
Okay, what's your ranking?
Okay, I would probably say 7, 12, 9,
Whoa!
4,
Jesus, dude!
5, 8, and 1.
You agreed that 12 had a weak story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're putting it second.
What
are you basing it on?
I am putting it second because it had similar problems with 9 in story, but I enjoyed the gameplay a lot in 12, and there was a lot of extra stuff which goes a long way. And then there was the leveling up system, the license points and all that stuff. I enjoyed a lot.
I'm going to keep mine the big surprise from Joe, so...
What, are you going to put it on number 1?
I don't know yet.
Fuck you,
Haven't
man.
decided. All right, Joe, what is your official ranking?
Okay, listen, I haven't completely decided either, and I every time I get to the end of these podcasts, I'm like, what do I do? You know?
All right, so what was your previous ranking, though?
My
Let's hear that.
previous ranking was 6 is the best, 10 is the second best, and then 7. And those 3 are really close together, but 6 is by far the best. I believe. It's the most flawless out of all of them.
All right.
Then it kind of jumps down. 9 as the next best. 5, 8, 4. Then 11, as we found out last time. 2, 3, and 1.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. I know it's kind of mid-range for me. I already know that. It's definitely not 6, 7, or 10. I don't think it's better than 9, but I'm looking here at 5, 8, and 4, and I'm wondering, is it better than 4? Maybe. Maybe it's better than 4. Is it better than 8? Maybe. It might be better than 8. Is it better than 5? That's a difficult one for me, because 5 is...
It was such a surprise for one.
It was such a surprise because I heard that 5 sucked before I played it, and that was so wrong. Yet 5's story in the first half was kind of like how 12's story in the first half was not good, or at least, you know, not where I cared.
It wasn't good in 5.
Oh God. Alright. Well, as much love as I have for Final Fantasy VIII, and it's all like in my heart as like the game that started me on Final Fantasy, there are so many plot holes in Final Fantasy VIII, and there are so many issues with the leveling up and overusing the draw system and just kind of that monotony. But I don't think the gameplay is as good as 5, nor do I think the story, in the way that it's told in Final Fantasy XII, is as good as 5. So it is going right in between them.
All right, so right in between 5 and
Okay.
8.
My new ranking is 6, 10, 7, 9, 5, 12, 8, 4, 11, 2, 3, and 1. Did you think I was going to make it lower?
Yeah, I was convinced you were. You were going to be a dick to it.
Well, I was until I did extra stuff, and then I was like, okay, this game ain't too bad.
Yeah.
And then I beat the game. Because I was thinking I was going to put it lower based upon up to Guru Vagan.
Yeah.
Past that, though, it got pretty good. So.
Well, mine's going to be kind of close, I think.
Oh, fuck you, man. We've been through this like 60 times. I don't like how my rankings are so similar to yours.
Well,
I don't like it.
it's not going to be quite the same.
Why can't you just be like a, I don't know, like some
12 Nazi? I like 12, but, you know, my rankings right now are 7, 6, 10, 9, 5, 8, 4, 11, 2, 3, and 1. And,
God damn.
I think I'm going to put 12 just above 9. And I
Why is
realized
that?
that's semi-blasphemous, but 9 and 12 had similar issues with me. When it came time to being like, all right, well, let's do this episode, I'm like, oh, God, what happened in the story? I'm like, I liked it. Like, the story was okay, but, like, it's just not, it didn't have a very big impact on me. It's, okay, there's easily a gap between 10 and 12. Like, we're talking gap, okay? But I think I like 9 a little bit less than 12, and it's because the extra quests and...
Yeah, but you didn't do the extra stuff in 9.
I didn't feel compelled to at all. And that's a strange thing for me, because I've been compelled to do it, except for with 9. 9, I was just like... I just wasn't motivated. Maybe it was the timing of the playthrough. I don't know.
It could have been. I mean,
I had some rough times.
Yeah, I
around
had
then.
some personal issues around then.
Yeah,
I was super stressed out with school, if anything, for me.
Yeah, but I think 12 just edges over 9. Definitely not because of the soundtrack, but because of the gameplay itself. I liked what I could do with 12, and I thought...
Yeah, 9's gameplay is really slow and clunky.
Yeah, and 12's is pretty fast, and... the limit breaks in 9 were so annoying to me, but I think it just barely edges over 9, and that's it. Yeah.
All right.
So that's a little bit of difference.
7, 6, 10, 12, 9, 5, 8, 4, 11, 2, 3, 1. Yeah, but our last
like 5.
Our last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games are identical.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go. Wow. We go 8, 4, 11, 2, 3, 1.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Well,
bullshit.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Don't worry, there's still 13 coming up.
There is 13 coming up. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to be, because like we have different opinions going into 13, and we had different opinions.
I don't want to have that affect my view of the whole thing.
I don't think it did for 12.
I mean, for 12, I had a really negative view going into 12, and I had to really think about it. I'm like, okay, get your head out of your ass with your first playthrough and how bullshit that was. And let's really think about this game and how it fits within the series as far as your ranking is concerned, and let's really think about this. And I thought about it for a long time. I mean, I just made my decision, but I did think about it for a long time, and I thought about what were the good qualities of 11, what parts of 11 of 12, and what parts of 12 did I really think I was having fun with, and what was good, what was bad, and
right. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's a battle between, you know, how good was the story versus how fun was the game. It's a video game. It's not supposed to be a movie.
I feel like I could rank them by gameplay real easy.
Oh yeah, gameplay it would be different of a list too, because the story, it's like a weird internal algorithm.
Then you can think of which story probably affected you more,
right?
In an order. I mean, it might be a little harder with those top ones, I think, but you could definitely think of it in a different way. But it is balancing those, and I gotta say, I mean, we don't do scores out of 10 or anything here. We do rankings as far as how it fits in the series,
right?
And as far as what we recommend for you to play. And yeah, I'd say 12 is middle ground, and you know, middle ground is still good.
Yeah,
still good, still a good game. Long game.
It's upper middle ground for me too. I mean, a couple spots higher, but for Caleb, I mean, his is forgivable because he's not beaten, 6 or.
I'm working on it though.
Yeah, you are working on it,
Dude,
but
6 is amazing. You got to get into that.
Yeah, I think.
All right.
I think that's it. I don't know.
I think that is going to end it for this episode. Thank you guys for coming on and listening to us. Remember to find us on youtube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy, Twitter @UFF Podcast, Patreon.com. Please find us on there and support us. We'd be very grateful. Twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy. You can see Caleb play Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah, I get to see my awesome reaction to the Shiva thing.
And remember, you can find all of this stuff on our websites.
Well, it's kind of too, I guess, with the forum.
UltimaFinalFantasy.com, and you could join our forum, UltimaFinalFantasy.boards.net, and all that information can be found at UltimaFinalFantasy.com.
Well, guys, until next time, as always, enjoy the grind.
This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.
The show was produced by Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGolier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show, and look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate Final Fantasy podcast. All right, a couple last moments for the Twitch guys. You want to scroll up a little bit? So we did we disconnect it for a bit, I guess? That sucks.
Yeah, that's really crappy. No, that's not too much. 12 HD. Should I read the version? Yeah. Who enjoyed the game most out of three of us? I think it was Caleb Craig, actually. Who enjoyed it the most.
You can tell by the rankings.
Goodbye show. Oh, we cut out. That's really shitty. That's going to mess with the YouTube export. Fuck.
Oh, is it?
I think so, but I don't know.
Are you sure it wasn't just like the connection with them, and then Twitch will have the connection with us?
Oh, we'll find out.
It doesn't look like it was a very long cutout. Look, he said it's
less than a minute, or a minute or so. Or maybe it was chat. I don't know.
Sick poster on the wall.
I hear a lot of people call this game a Star Wars ripoff and hate it because of it. The whole series is kind of a Star Wars ripoff.
Starting with Final Fantasy II the most.
Yeah, well... Yeah, probably the most. 9 is like...
Final Fantasy 12, what was interesting about it being a Star Wars ripoff, you say? I mean, besides the fact that, you're carrying around a princess who should be the princess, and then there's a resistance group, and then there's an empire, and there's an evil empire, and then there's a guy who's, doing the bidding for another, thing. It's the other empire, but it would be the... Okay. It doesn't quite fit there, but...
It's close.
Yeah.
It is... similar. It has similarities, but I don't think it's quite the same as Star Wars. The thing that really connects it to Star Wars, I think, the most is probably just the airships and shit flying around, especially in those opening cutscenes. You're kind of reminded of the newer Star Wars movies,
right? And the final cutscene,
the Star Wars prequels. I mean, it does kind of have that look. It's got that dry CGI look to it, and there's a lot of ships flying around, so I can see that as a connection. And there were certainly a lot of things said as far as when I was looking up the making of the game. Some of the designers were like, well, I like Star Wars, but I didn't try to make it look like Star Wars. I saw that somewhere on there, and so it's a bad. I don't think Star Wars is a bad thing to steal from.
No, they've stolen from plenty of other
sources. And Star Wars stole from other things. It's not like Star Wars was the all-out thing. It's Star Trek plus Hidden Fortress equals Star Wars. I mean, really, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, that's pretty close description of Star Wars right there.
So, good things to steal from.
9 is the best in the series after 10-2. Dude.
Are you fucking with us?
I don't know if he is.
9
the battle
is
system,
the highest rated on Metacritic. So.
The battle system at 10-2 is supposed to be phenomenal.
But I saw that opening cutscene, and I wanted to blow up my TV.
Thank you, Anthony. Lots of fun watching you guys live. Thank you for being attentive to your fan base. Oh, you're very welcome.
Oh, thanks.
You guys are what we do it for.
Okay, so despite the fact that you watch this on Twitch, give us a good download on that. On that iTunes or whatever podcatcher.
Ooh, we got a quick question regarding the guide. Dang it thing. Do you guys think FF12 was the worst FF so far in terms of needing a guide for all the hidden stuff?
FF11. Yeah, I needed the FF Wiki for FF11.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. Yeah.
So like FF11. There's. You don't even know.
Yeah, man.
Unless you played it, of course. But
and then you know, but.
Or at least played it recently, because maybe at the time when FF11 was when there was a shitload of people on there, you could have asked people, or people would have helped you get certain things done. There was more of a social aspect to it. But 11 in its current state, you fucking need help, and the only help out there
is the
Unless
wiki.
there's like the two people still playing it on whatever server you're playing it on, it's the FF wiki.
Yeah, 11 is massively more necessary for guidage.
I mean, 12
is close.
Yeah, 12 is very close.
As far as the extra stuff goes, I mean, there's a lot of it that you could do just fine.
I think the only things that are really hidden in that game is the Zodiac Spear, because I mean everything else you could just kind of figure out with like the selling stuff to the bazaar.
Yeah, you could, but
I don't know if I would have figured out what fucking windmill to go find that one guy.
Yeah,
I mean there might have been a hidden piece of dialogue somewhere.
If we would have written down every little fancy colored piece of dialogue, we probably would figure out 90% of it. But that's the thing,
like the games of yesteryear.
Yeah, like we just don't do that
Ultima.
because we don't. I wonder if we're not as tailored. Like honestly, like Spoonie's probably a god at it. He's like, oh well, I'm just gonna write this down because it's important. Whereas with us, we're like, fuck that. We're not gonna write that down. We're so pampered with our walkthroughs and whatnot.
Internets.
And our intranets.
Well, FF11 is especially sick.
It is for sure. Oh, and he loves 10-2. So yeah, that's fine. We'll get to 10-2 and we'll give it a fair review.
I can't give it a fair review on those first 2 hours.
No, the first 2 hours are fucking horrid.
It's like watching a fucking Bratz commercial. I can't.
Forever. Just on loop and tied into a chair.
And I love 10 so much. I love 10 so much, and it had this beautiful, sad story, and then it was fucking... I don't know, the beginning of FF10-2 just makes me just so mad.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it. I don't know.
We'll get to it, though.
We will get to it, and I will try to judge it as fairly as possible, but it is sick.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for following Makazia18. Yeah. I will be playing 13 at some point. Okay. So you will get to enjoy that as well.
All right. Well, I think we got to end it. It's late.
We need to go to sleep. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us for our live stream. I know it was a little rough with the freaking troll and shit, but until next time, guys.